Yesterday, the Central Organization of Trade Unions, KOTU, held its elections, and Francis Atwoli was re-elected the Secretary General unopposed for the 5th time. Messages of goodwill poured in. I too send my congratulations to him. Immediately there was a hashtag that trended most of the day. Many people wakimwambia pongezi, heko na kongole. But as usual, there will be a few people who will find fault with something like what happened yesterday in KOTU. Some people found fault. I must say there are very few people. They found fault with Atwoli going in for the 5th time. Some people found fault with his assumed age, that there are younger people who must take over. Such a people, of course, were few. And I will not even have bothered about it, except that a few people I respect, 1 or 2 people I respect, especially a lady I really respect as a politician. But because, unfortunately, I didn't take time to check whether it was a parody account or not, I will not mention her name. She just tweeted term limits. So I thought I need to take this Francis Atwoli victory as a springboard to talk about something that I've noticed in this country. When President Uhuru Kenyatta appointed Atwoli, there was an outcry. People say they are young people. Indeed, they are young people. Why do you go for old people? So today, I want us to look at this thing of age in public service. First, term limits. Term limits are not as absolute as Kenyans would want us to believe. Even where there are term limits like in America, in 1988, when Ronald Reagan was living, and I've said this many times, he said something. He said Americans might have to relook this term limit thing because it could deny them a good president. We have term limits in Kenya and other places in the world, sometimes being informed by our past. Because of what Jomo Kenyatta and Moi took us through, Kenyans embraced term limits. Americans too had their history, and that informs some of the things they've done. But unknown to many Kenyans, even in America itself, not all states have term limits. Ditto Nigeria. Again, it must be common knowledge to all that some of the most successful democracies in the world do not even have term limits. Angela Merkel, one of the most outstanding leaders of the 21st century, has been at the helm of Germany as the chancellor for a number of terms before she left recently. She did a spectacular job. In the UK, there are no term limits. While at the UK, may I send my condolences to the royal family, to the British people, and all those who are associated with the British for losing Prince Philip. That doesn't stop the UK from functioning. It doesn't stop at all. So term limits are not absolute. In America today, there is a conversation around that, just as there's a conversation around the electoral college system. The conversation may not be loud. So, yes, again, we must also know certain industries are unique. In the trade union movement, for example, for you to rise to the leadership of a trade union, look at where you will have started. First, you will have been employed after college or after school or university. You might perhaps have started as a shop steward, risen to be elected as a junior official of the union, and these elections happen after every 5 years. Maybe by the time you are getting to be a senior member of your union, which is an affiliate of KOTU, maybe you're already 50 years, 45 years. And by the time you are able to convince other affiliate unions of KOTU to give you a position in KOTU, leave alone Secretary General, just a position, even an assistant secretary general. My friend, you must be advanced in age. So certain sectors have certain unique features. Within the trade union movement, globally, you'll find most leaders are elder. And I think for that, and it's also because of the networking that is really needed. Many people do not know that a lot in trade union movement is achieved through negotiations, through engagement, through lobbying, more than threats and strikes. A union may be chest thumping and talking strike and talking tough, but beneath, underground, its leadership is negotiating. For example, many people have faulted Atwoli and KOTU for doing nothing during the pandemic. Unknown to them, for example, is that the moment this pandemic hit and there was signs that it will stay long and it's going to have an impact, I am aware that KOTU moved with speed. And Atwoli had the government sit down with the employers, Federation of Kenya Employers. And these three were able to safeguard jobs under a number of arrangements. For example, there were companies that could not continue. If a hotel was closed because there was no tourism going on, how would you maybe pay workers? Others were on half pay. There were guarantees that KOTU was able to squeeze out of the employers with the government in support. That, for example, yes, we understand you must close, but when you close, remember that when you reopen, because this pandemic may not last forever, do not employ new people. You will have to recall that is a major achievement. So there are many things that trade unions do as we attack them. The next thing people talk about is age. Unknown to many people, Francis Atwoli may be 70 or plus or whatever he is. And I've already said in the trade union movement, many leaders are old, and for reasons I've explained, and there are more reasons I don't have time to explain. But whereas Atwoli may be old as a trade unionist, the people who are making noise, and I've said there are few people and they are not informed, the successful corporations in America, big companies with portfolios running in billions of US dollars, are led by people in the 80s, 70s, 80s, even 90s. We must know these things because there are certain things that come with age, experience, and networking. People were attacking Muda Awori when he was appointed. Young people who are attacking Muda Awori will be in their blankets, pulling their blanket because of the nice sleep of 5 p.m., 5 a.m. in the morning, 5 to 6, bad on Alala, some of them with hangovers. At that time, Muda Awori would have done a number of rounds in his swimming pool. By the time that young man is going to the keyboard to attack Uhuru for appointing Muda Awori would successfully have perhaps chaired 2 board meetings of companies whose portfolio is in hundreds of millions of shillings. That young man does not know that. So it is possible there are certain areas where youth is important. There are certain areas where experience and age comes in handy. So my plea to Kenyans is to engage around these things knowing that nothing is constant. There is nobody who is good just because they are young. There's nobody who is successful just because they are old. In Malaysia, there was a successful leader. After he left, a young man took over. He messed the country. This man came back the other day at 93 to turn the country around. So it is possible. There are countries where leaders are over 70, 80, and they are doing wonderful. The U.S. embassy bombing took place in 19, I think, 78 or something. I can't remember quite. 78, 88, no, 88, I think. 98. Just then, the U.S. had stopped issuing visa to people who went there physically. People used to queue. You pay somebody to queue for you overnight. When that bomb blast happened, if the U.S. had not stopped that, my friend, many Kenyans would have, the people who would have died there. Why were they queuing overnight? To go to America because it's successful? Yet in the same America, how old are the senators in America? Where is the term limit to senators? In the same U.S., the Supreme Court has very old people. Look at RBG. A person retires only when they want. And the Supreme Court of the U.S. is not your ordinary court. It makes decisions of momentous proportions. Somebody's there at 85. So it's not a question of age. And therefore, as we congratulate Francis Atwoli, we must also encourage us as Kenyans to look at these public appointments, not always in terms of age. For example, in this country, I'm very disturbed when appointments are made, and they are clearly tribal. We should be going for that. We should be worrying not that Uhuru Kenyatta has appointed an old man. Indeed, I get very excited when he appoints some of these young people. I get very happy. That should not be our worry. We should worry about, has Uhuru appointed a man on merit? Is that woman who has been appointed capable to do the job she has been given? That should be our concern. But of a bigger concern to Kenyans, I think, would be that when presidents in this country and other leaders appoint people, they don't look beyond certain families. That should be what Kenyans should be worried about. If Uhuru wants to appoint somebody from Kisii, it won't go beyond the Nyanchai family. If it is in Western, it won't go beyond the Mudi Awori family. If it is in Central, even if they are appointing many people from the mountain, it's not just any Kikuyu or any Meru. It is people in particular. The president of this country, while making appointments, doesn't look beyond certain circles. And this is what we must break. Not to look at how old somebody is when they are getting the job. We must break that so that we have the very best. So that when, for example, Ruto has to appoint somebody, it has to be the daughter. When a chance comes to Raila, it is the daughter. It is the brother to go to East African community. When Wiper must produce somebody to go to the East African parliament, it is Kalonzo Musyoka's son. Those are the things we must address. But let workers elect the people they want. So long as Atwoli is elected in a free and fair manner, I would not bother how many times he is elected, so long as that is their constitution, that the law allows it. I would not care how old somebody is when they are becoming KOTU Secretary General, so long as they are delivering, so long as they are able to do and the workers think this is the right man. I wouldn't bother at all. I would only come to the defense of Kenyans and workers if there were underhand deals in those elections. I would not even care that somebody like Atwoli is my friend or my brother. No, I will tell him off. We must ensure that processes and systems are followed, are respected, and the best way to do that is to continuously, as Kenyans, be vigilant. So we are going to be asking, if KOTU is holding elections, were those elections fair? If Uhuru is making appointments, is Uhuru looking beyond certain families in this country? Let's not bother that Mudi Awori is 80-something. No. If he can do the job, let him do it. But we will ask him, please, there are also young people, employ them. But we will tell him to break this circle of not seeing beyond certain families. For example, this country is at a stage that it requires a serious overhaul. We are going to collapse as a country if we do not get the best men on board. The king of Prussia, I don't know how it's pronounced, was sinking. Prussia was sinking. Then the king realized there was a trouble rouser, a tough guy called Bismarck. He sent for him, and Bismarck turned things around for Prussia and was able to unite Germany. This country is at that stage where the leadership of this country must look beyond traditional sources of people, beyond the normal circles when they are employing. They must look for men and women who will save this country from what I'm seeing as total collapse. And not looking at how old somebody is, not looking at how many times they have been elected, so long as they are not violating the Constitution. And for that reason, congratulations, brother Francis Atwoli, as you start your 5 years. May God give you help to continue serving the workers, and I'm sure you are up to the task.